Okay, so today we're taking a deep dive into Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural.
Sounds good.
You know, people are really fascinated by this book, and they want to get right to those core ideas, right?
Right.
And, without getting bogged down in all the little details.
Yeah.
So in this deep dive, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Awesome. I'm ready.
We're going to use all that great material that you sent over.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Joe Dispenza, he's a pretty interesting figure.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, a neuroscientist, chiropractor, and he really tries to bridge, that gap between science and spiritual experiences.
Yeah, he kind of goes out there.
He really does. And his book asks a really fundamental question, I think. Can we actually tap into these abilities that we think are extraordinary?
Yeah.
And can we actually transform our lives in a way that might seem supernatural?
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge question.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to get into today. So our mission here in this deep dive is to really extract the most important insights from the book. We really want to understand how Dispenza suggests we can use our minds to potentially influence our biology, our emotions, and even our future.
It's like that mind-body connection.
Exactly. So let's get into it. The big idea here at the heart of Becoming Supernatural is this concept of moving beyond the limitations that we think are set by the physical world.
Okay.
So it's all about, entering this realm where profound personal change becomes possible.
Yeah. So like we're not limited by our physical bodies.
Exactly. It's a really interesting idea.
It is. It is.
So what do you think? What's Dispenza's core argument here?
So based on what you shared, it seems like his main point is that by truly mastering our minds, like our thoughts, our feelings, we can unlock this potential to influence our physical health,
Okay.
our emotions, and like you said, shape our future.
It's like we become the architects of our own reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And in a much deeper way. It's not just about positive thinking.
No, it goes way beyond that. And this is where the quantum field comes in.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were going to go with that.
Yeah, it might sound a little out there, but the book describes it as this invisible web of energy connecting everything.
Like a universal internet.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And it's this field of infinite possibilities just waiting for us to tap in.
So like we're swimming in potential.
We are. And Dispenza's suggesting that by aligning our thoughts and emotions in a specific way, we can interact with this quantum field.
So it's not just about thinking it, it's about feeling it too.
You got it. So think of it like this. We can actually call forth new possibilities into our lives.
Manifestation, right?
Exactly. But here's the catch. To really do that, to tap into this quantum field, we need to break free from those old patterns of thinking and feeling.
Oh yeah, those old habits. They can really hold us back.
Yeah. We've got to access a state of pure consciousness. And this is where meditation comes in.
Meditation.
Right. It's a really central part of Dispenza's approach.
So it's more than just relaxation.
Oh, absolutely. Your material says that Dispenza has these specific meditation techniques designed to help us connect with this quantum zone.
Okay, so it's like intentional meditation.
Exactly. It's about shifting our state of being, becoming more receptive to these possibilities.
So it sounds pretty revolutionary.
It really does. But we need to talk about the evidence. Dispenza makes some big claims here. How does he back them up?
Right, that's a great question. It's important to look for the evidence. And your material mentions that he tries to ground his ideas in a few areas of science, like neuroscience, epigenetics, and quantum physics.
Let's start with epigenetics. I'm curious about that. How does that play a role in all of this?
So epigenetics, in the simplest terms, is the study of how things in our environment can affect our genes. Not changing the genes themselves, but whether they're turned on or off.
Okay, so like a light switch for our genes.
Yeah, a good way to think about it. And Dispenza argues that our thoughts and emotions, that they can be like those environmental factors, actually switching genes on or off.
Wow. So our thoughts are not just mental chatter.
Nope. He's saying they have a direct impact on our biology. And the book has stories that are presented as real-world examples of this happening.
It's a pretty mind-blowing idea. What about neuroscience? How does that fit in with his meditation practices?
So your material explains that Dispenza believes these meditations can actually change the activity in our brains. We've got these brainwaves, right? And when we're awake and thinking, we're usually in this beta state.
Okay.
But his meditations aim to shift us to a more relaxed state, like the alpha or theta state.
So slower brainwaves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And these slower states are linked to being more open to the subconscious mind, where we can rewire those old beliefs and habits.
So we're basically changing our brain waves to access a deeper level of ourselves.
Right. And that's where the real change can happen, according to Dispenza.
So we've talked about epigenetics and neuroscience. Now, quantum physics, it's a bit more complex. How does Dispenza tie that in?
This is where it gets really interesting. In quantum physics, there's this idea that at the tiniest level, particles don't exist in a fixed state until they're observed. It's like there are a bunch of possibilities, like waves.
Okay, so they're not set in stone until someone looks at them.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And Dispenza suggests that our focused attention, our intention, that's what acts as the observer. So like our focus can collapse those waves of possibility into a specific outcome in our lives.
It's like we're choosing our reality from a menu of options.
Yeah, that's a simplified way to look at it. And it's definitely a controversial interpretation, even within the science world.
But it's definitely food for thought.
It is. So we have this theoretical foundation from science.
Right. But the book also relies on those real-life stories.
Yeah.
The material you provided has some pretty amazing examples of people seeing real changes.
Right. And I think that's what really captures people's attention, seeing how these ideas might actually play out in someone's life.
You know, I'm curious about Anna's story. Can you tell us a little bit about her experience?
Absolutely. So Anna, according to the material you sent, she was diagnosed with a rare type of cancer.
Oh, wow.
And when those traditional treatments weren't working for her, she decided to try Dispenza's methods.
So she turned to meditation.
Yeah, she started practicing these techniques consistently. And what's really remarkable is that her story suggests she experienced physical healing.
Wow. So her health actually improved.
That's what the material indicates.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just physical. She also found a new sense of purpose, and her overall happiness increased.
Oh, so it sounds like a profound transformation.
It does, doesn't it? And then there's Tom's story. That's also really powerful.
Tell me about Tom.
So Tom, according to the material you provided, was paralyzed from the waist down after an accident.
Oh, that's awful.
It is. But through consistent meditation and visualization, techniques that Dispenza teaches, he started to regain movement in his legs.
Oh, way.
And eventually he was able to walk again.
That's incredible.
It's a really inspiring story. And while these are just individual experiences, they're presented as examples of what might be possible.
They offer hope and a different perspective on healing.
Exactly. And you know, the book isn't just about theories and stories. It also gives practical techniques that people can actually use.
Yeah, like tools for change.
Right. Becoming Supernatural is full of specific meditations and exercises that people can try out in their own lives.
So it's about taking action, not just reading about it.
Exactly. There's one meditation that caught my eye. It's called The Blessing of the Energy Centers meditation. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
So in this meditation, you focus on your body's main energy centers, which are often called chakras.
Okay.
And you visualize filling these centers with positive emotions like love and gratitude.
So it's about cultivating positive energy in the body.
Right. And the idea is that this can help to create a harmonious flow of energy, leading to greater well-being.
It sounds really relaxing.
Yeah. And there's another one called the kaleidoscope meditation that uses an actual kaleidoscope.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. So you look into the kaleidoscope and those shifting colors and patterns are supposed to help you enter a trance-like state.
So it's like a visual aid for meditation.
Right. And the goal is to bypass that analytical part of your mind, the conscious mind, so you can access deeper levels of belief and change them.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It is. It's like a shortcut to reprogramming your subconscious.
I like that. And the material also mentions this idea of coherence. What does that mean exactly?
So coherence is about getting your heart and your mind on the same page, like syncing them up.
So it's about harmony between our thoughts and our feelings.
Exactly. And Dispenza talks about heart intelligence, which is the idea that cultivating emotions like joy and gratitude can lead to more balanced heart rhythms.
So positive emotions have a physical impact on our hearts.
That's what he's suggesting. And your material even mentions studies that show this connection between heart coherence and improved health.
So it's not just about feeling good. It's about being healthy.
Right. It's like a feedback loop between our emotions and our physical well-being.
It's a fascinating concept, but we need to be honest, right? Not everyone buys into everything Dispenza says.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's important to acknowledge that there are criticisms of his work. Not everyone in the scientific community agrees with his interpretations, especially when it comes to quantum physics.
So some people think he's stretching the science a bit too far.
Yeah, some feel like he's going beyond what's generally accepted in the field.
And then there's the concern about people relying solely on these methods for serious health conditions.
Right. It's a valid point. While the mind can be incredibly powerful, it's crucial not to neglect conventional medical treatment when it's necessary.
So it's about finding a balance.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And from what I gather from the material you shared, Dispenza himself sees his work as complementary to traditional medicine.
So it's not about choosing one over the other.
Right. It's about using them together for a more holistic approach to well-being.
It's about empowering people to take an active role in their own health.
Yeah, that's a key point.
And despite the criticisms, it seems like becoming supernatural has really resonated with a lot of people.
It has. And it's inspiring people to question their limitations and explore what their minds are truly capable of.
It's a powerful message, isn't it? That we have this untapped potential within us.
It is. And the book doesn't just leave it at that. It gives you a set of tools, those meditations and exercises, to actually start exploring that potential.
So it's a practical guide to personal transformation.
Right. It takes these complex ideas and makes them accessible.
And it shows you how to apply them to different areas of your life.
Yeah, whether it's improving your health, managing your emotions, or just living a more fulfilling life.
So for our listeners out there, if you're intrigued by this idea of unlocking your own extraordinary potential, then becoming supernatural might be worth checking out.
Yeah, it definitely offers a fresh perspective on what's possible. And who knows, you might just discover that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible.
It really makes you think, how much are our thoughts and feelings shaping our reality? It's a pretty powerful question to consider.
Yeah, it is. It challenges us to take responsibility for our own experience and to see the potential that exists within each of us.
And that's what makes this book so fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today.
It flew by.
I know, right? But as always, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing the boundaries of what you believe is possible.
And remember, the journey of becoming supernatural starts with a single thought.
That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural. We'll see you next time.
See you then.